In 1996, Scott Weiland was on rock radio singing I'm Not Dead and I'm Not For Sale. While Stone Temple Pilots were canceling shows, Court was watching him, and there were rumors the band might replace him. So yeah, a pretty subtle year. That's the thing about Trippin' on a Hole in a Paper Heart. People flatten it into one more Scott Weiland drug song because apparently every complicated rock song from the 90s now has to be filed under Heroin, Seattle, or Eddie Vedder clone. Very advanced scholarship, somebody to get the man a Rolling Stone internship. But this one is messier than that. By late 1995, STP were massive, but they were also sick of the box they've been shoved into. Critics had spent years acting like they were fake grunge criminals, as if Dean DeLeo had personally stolen a flannel shirt from Pearl Jam's laundry basket. And the band's future wasn't exactly nailed down either. Dean, Robert, and Eric had piles of songs, and with Scott in and out of rehab, some of that material was even being sorted between STP and what became Talk Show, their side project with Dave Coots, which is a very polite way of saying nobody was totally sure what room they were standing in anymore. So they went out to Westerly Ranch in the Santa Ynez Valley with Brendan O'Brien. It's a beautiful place, a huge house, and a 100-acre bubble. The idea was get Scott away from the usual LA routines, let the band live together, record together, and maybe rediscover the chemistry. But you know how these things go. The rock industry solution to human disaster is usually, what if we rented a mansion? And somehow, both things were true. On the good days, it really did sound like summer camp for overpaid weirdos. Eric Chris talked about tennis, margaritas, somebody having an idea, and everybody wandering off to jam. They were recording in bedrooms, closets, outside, whatever worked. For Big Bang Baby, they set up on the front lawn. Very normal. We Need Guitar Tone. Has anyone set up on the grass yet? But there was the other side of the house. Robert DeLeo later said there were times they'd go upstairs and past Scott's bedroom and check to see if he was just alive. That's the part that keeps the song from being cute. Because Trippin' does sound fun. It's twitchy, bright, cocky, and almost ridiculous. And it wasn't some sludge riff from the grunge assembly line either. Kretz said it came from his love of David Garibaldi's drumming in Tower of Power, with some Steely Dan style chords thrown in. So while critics were still yelling grunge copycats, STP were sinking funk drums and yacht rock Poison into a hard rock hit. 90s rock was a little better when nobody was checking the ingredient label. Then Scott comes in with a chorus, I'm not dead and I'm not for sale. And according to Kretz, those lyrics were angry. He connected that line to problems with management and compared the venom to Queen's Death on Two Legs, which is not exactly a sad guy writes sad song. That is somebody throwing a chair at the business meeting. The real life came back through the wall. In May of 1995, Weiland had been arrested in Pasadena on drug-related charges, and by spring of 1996, while Tiny Music was moving, STP canceled free shows in Chicago and New York, and their manager Steve Stewart said they weren't going to tour if Scott wasn't clean and sober. Even a Kiss reunion date was suddenly sitting there with a giant question mark over it. And if you can make a Kiss reunion less stable, congratulations, you've achieved advanced rock chaos. Then in June, it got uglier. Weiland walked out of a court-ordered treatment program after reportedly reading a spin item claiming his bandmates were rumored to be looking for a replacement. The manager denied it, said they had not fired him, not auditioning singers, none of it. But whether the rumor was true is almost less important than what it tells you about the room. The singer thought he might lose his band, and the band was trying not to lose their singer. The business was circling like it always does, and meanwhile, the song on the radio is the bright, angry little monster saying, "Don't cut out my paper heart." By October, Weiland had finished inpatient treatment, moved into a halfway house, and STP were preparing to tour with a support team traveling with him. That is the most 1996 sentence possible. Platinum rock band, sold-out venues, great songs, and a recovery plan riding shotgun. And somehow, Trippin' still became one of their big wins, a #1 rock hit and later a Grammy nominee. That's why the song works. It's not denial or mythology. It's not some cheap rock star destroys himself headline. It's a guy in the middle of the machine telling everybody, the band, the label, the managers, the critics, maybe himself, I'm still here and I'm not your product yet.